Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining our virtual cooking class today. We're just gonna give another minute or so to let everybody who is planning on joining live today get on the call. So if you haven't already, something you definitely want to do is preheat your oven to broil on high. We are gonna be sticking our nachos in the oven today to help melt all that great Crystal Farms cheese. So set that oven to broil on high. And also, if you haven't already, you can wash your hands, and I'm going to go ahead and do that while we wait for the rest of our participants to join. All right, well, we are going to get started. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to our virtual cooking class today. I'm Vessel Foods Mealtime Mentor and Registered Dietitian Lauren, and I'm so excited to be joining you from our in your kitchen from the Vessel Foods Test Kitchen today. Thank you for joining. This class is part of our Family Meals Month mini-series during the month of September, which is National Family Meals Month, and we really want to thank Crystal Farms for sponsoring our class today. We hope you guys are all ready to get cooking, and we have a great recipe today, which I'm sure is why most of you joined the cooking class. So just a couple housekeeping notes before we jump into the recipe. Each of your microphones will remain muted throughout the class. However, if you do have questions or comments throughout the class, we definitely want to hear from you. So go ahead and use the Q&A function. It's a little button at the bottom. You definitely want to use that instead of that chat function. This will help us manage the questions a little bit better and make sure that everybody can see the responses as well. Vessel Foods Mealtime Mentor Jenny is on the chat today. She's ready to answer any of your questions that come through. And if you're taking this class on demand, please reach out to us with questions and comments via askvesseldietitians.com, and we'll get back to you that way. All right, so let's get started. Today we're going to be making loaded sheet pan cheeseburger nachos. These are a great snack, whether you're taking this after school. They're great for football season, if you're having a football party at home for homegating, or honestly, just for a really quick weeknight meal. So, like we mentioned earlier, your oven you definitely want preheating to broil. We're going to be broiling our nachos on high, but also we need a large skillet. In this skillet, what I have in here is just a little bit of olive oil. You can use any sort of vegetable oil, and you want to start getting that heated up. So we're going to get our skillet going here to medium-high. Make sure mine is on here. Looks good. Because this is where we're going to be cooking our Festy burgers. Other options, you could grill the Festy burgers. This is a great recipe for leftover burgers. Maybe you grilled up a ton of burgers over the weekend and you need to use them up during the week. This is a great recipe for that. So today we're using just the plain Festy burgers. We also have a couple different varieties of Festy burgers. One of my favorites is the mushroom and Swiss, but my husband loves the bacon cheddar. We also have a Southwest. So many good Festy burgers. I'm sure many of you have your own favorite as well. But today we are going to be using the plain and adding some cheese. So to our plain burgers, we are going to just season with a little bit of salt and pepper, both sides. Very simple, just to give it a little bit of flavor. But like I mentioned, we will be adding some Crystal Farms cheese slices to our burgers. So you can go ahead, hopefully everybody's washed their hands like we talked about earlier. We'll definitely want to wash our hands after handling the raw meat. I'm going to use my other hand that is clean to finish seasoning. This is where it's nice to have a couple hands in the kitchen. So maybe you have other family members with you cooking today. That gets very helpful. All right, so just checking on my oil here. Your oil should be nice and hot. Just want to swirl that around in our pan here. And you can go ahead, and when your pan is warm, go ahead and add those burgers right to the pan. Hear that nice sizzle. And after you've added them, I'm going to go ahead and wash your hands. right, so we're gonna let those cook about 3 to 5 minutes per side. Then we're gonna flip them, and after that, we're gonna get started on our tortilla chips and our other toppings for today. So while we're waiting right now, I just wanted to chat a little bit about Family Meals Month. Like I mentioned earlier, it's September. If you're not familiar, Family Meals Month is an industry-wide movement to raise awareness of the benefits of frequent family meals, which we know is easier said than done. Everybody's very busy. There's a lot going on, but if we can all make an effort to have at least one more family meal together each week, it doesn't have to be something elaborate, but ultimately it's just about gathering around the table and that time spent together, eating a meal together at home. Could be breakfast, could be dinner, could be an after-school snack, but that time is really invaluable and has so many different benefits in terms of health, social, and emotional benefits. So today, like we mentioned, Crystal Farms is one of our sponsors for Family Meals Month campaign, which is really focused on our work with Food for Neighbors this year. Food for Neighbors is a program we have here at Festival that helps support over 40 different food pantries across the state of Wisconsin. And throughout the month, we're encouraging donations to Food for Neighbors, and we're also working with our vendor partners to provide a collective donation to Food for Neighbors at the end of the month. So we'd encourage you to donate to Food for Neighbors as part of taking this class today. You can do that online on our website, or of course in store. We have little cards you can pick up at the register to donate $1 or $5 to Food for Neighbors. So our burgers are smelling good. I'm just going to take a peek, see how they're doing. Hopefully yours are smelling good too. They look pretty good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and give them a flip. I'm going to let those go for another 3 minutes or so. In the meantime, we are going to get going on our tortilla chips in our pan. So today we are using just a sheet pan. You want to make sure it has some nice edges on it though, because we want to make sure everything stays contained and that we don't lose it in the oven. So I have a whole bag here of tortilla chips. About 10 to 12 ounce bag would be good. And we're going to add the whole bag. Any chip will work, whatever you prefer, like round chips, different flavored chips. We're just using typical like restaurant style chips today. Spread them out evenly on your pan. And then next we're going to add our pico de gallo. So you can definitely make your own. Maybe you have a ton of tomatoes coming right now from your garden. You can make your own. But today we're just using Crazy Fresh, which you can find in our produce department. Pico de gallo. And then from here, we'll turn down a little bit. Our burgers are looking good. We are going to add about 1.5 cups. I'm just going to eye it up. With a lot of these toppings, just add however much you like. And we're just going to add some scoops all throughout. Just try to get it evenly coated. Nobody ever wants that like sad chip when you're eating nachos that has nothing good on it. So let's make sure to try to get some good toppings on every chip. And like I said, 1.5 cups, but ultimately, honestly, I'm going to just end up using most of this container. And what's great about this recipe is you can customize it. So add however much or little as you'd like. I'm going to take a peek at our burgers here. Mine are looking pretty good. Gonna let it go a little bit longer, make sure it's all the way cooked through. Good time to take a peek at yours. So the next ingredient that we are going to add to our chips here is shredded Crystal Farms cheese. So today we're using a Mexican style cheese. They have a couple different varieties. You could just use cheddar, but we feel like the Mexican style cheese really works well. So you're gonna add this entire bag. And again, we want to evenly spread our cheese here. Throughout all of our chips. No sad chips, that's the goal. All right. So from here, we are going to put this in the oven. Oh, we need to get our burgers on here first. Getting ahead of myself, I'm getting too excited. All right, so take a peek at your burgers. Hopefully they're pretty cooked through. And they're looking good. So I'm gonna turn my skillet off. And hopefully you have a cutting board of some sort to transfer your burgers. And then from here, oh, we gotta add our cheese. Well, you can transfer back to your pan or put it right back on here. I'm notorious for not really following the recipes, so let me make sure I'm guiding you all properly today. All right, so from here, you want to just go ahead and slice up your burgers into chunks. And again, the size is really up to you. The cheese, because of how warm the burgers are, should be getting nice and melty. I'm cutting them fairly small just because we want to make sure that they are more bite-sized than anything else. So today we're using just cheddar for our sliced cheese on top. Again, totally your preference. All right. Now you can grab your pan again. These beautiful nachos. Over here. Grab your spatula and start transferring your burger chunks to your nachos here. Again, kind of evenly spreading them out. And if you're still waiting for your burgers, not a problem. And these will cook a little bit too and under the broiler. You may want to go ahead and I'm going to wash my hands again before some of this yummy juice is off my hands. Just put them in the oven. All right, so let's get this under the broiler. Move this up a little bit. We want to make sure it's nice and close to the broiler at the top of the oven. That should be good. All right, so we are gonna let that broil for about 3 to 5 minutes until all that cheese is melted. We'll kind of keep an eye on it and kind of keep checking. But in the meantime, we're gonna work on our dressing. So for our dressing today, we're gonna be mixing sour cream and ranch, which sounds probably like a really interesting combination, but it definitely works with the kind of burger / Mexican flair that we have going on with our nachos today. So we're gonna add about 1/2 cup of sour cream. You could use, Greek yogurt if you prefer, but about a half a cup. And then we're going to be adding about 3 tablespoons of ranch dressing. And then all we're doing is just mixing that together. And if you make this and you're like, that's not really for me, you can give it a taste before you toss it on all your nachos. And definitely serve it on the side or omit it if it's not doing it for you. All right. Here's our sour cream. Clean up my little bit of explosion here. I always try to keep it as clean as possible in the kitchen, but we all kind of know how that goes, right? So about 3 tablespoons of ranch dressing. I'm going to kind of eye that up. Just saves the dish. And then just go ahead and mix that together. So like I mentioned earlier, Crystal Farms is sponsoring our class today, which we're super excited about. Crystal Farms, if you're not familiar, they are on a mission to source 100% of their cheese from dairy farmers across the Midwest. So we really appreciate their partnership with us in helping feed families across the country, but also supporting farmers right here local to us in the Midwest. So just a quick trivia question while we're waiting for our cheese to get nice and melty on our nachos. How many pounds of food has Crystal Farms donated to Wisconsin families over the past year? Jenny's going to put up a poll question. I'm going to go ahead and check on our nachos. The answer is 10,000. So if you guessed 10,000, great job. So these are my nachos. And they are definitely done. Maybe a little overdone. But I honestly prefer them a little toastier and that cheese a little brown. So hopefully yours are looking good too. All right, so our final toppings, if you have your nachos out that we can finish up with, we are going to be adding our sauce. So I'm just gonna do some dollops throughout with our sauce that we made. These look so great. And we did use a pound of the Festy burger, so there is definitely enough food here to feed a crowd. The other topping that we're going to add when it comes to sauce is guacamole. So again, this is something where you could certainly just use mashed avocado or sliced avocado, make your own guacamole, but we really love our Crazy Fresh guacamole that you can find in our produce department. Comes in 2 varieties. The hot and spicy, and then the authentic, which is pretty mild, doesn't have so much spice. So I'm gonna toss on the hot and spicy. And again, just gonna grab a spoon here and go to town on some dollops. I'm all about the guacamole when it comes to nachos. If it doesn't have guacamole, I'm probably adding it if that's an option. So delicious. And then our last topping that we're adding today are dill pickle, hamburger dill pickle chips or slices. And this just kind of brings to life the whole, again, it's burger flavored nachos, but kind of with that Mexican flair, obviously with the nachos. So again, with a lot of these toppings, optional, but this is really a fun addition. And hopefully you're having fun with making your own creations and topping them how you'd like. And these definitely are best warm, so hopefully you're hungry and you're ready to dig in and eat. And that's it. Our nachos are ready to go. So I definitely want to make sure you can eat these right away. So I'm just going to wrap up with just a couple more housekeeping items. We, of course, want to thank you for joining our class today. We hope you had fun. We hope you learned a few tips and tricks, maybe a little bit more about Family Meals Month and a little bit more about our partner today, Crystal Farms. If you're taking this class live, you will be receiving a post-class survey to the email address you provided at registration. We greatly appreciate if you take the survey by providing feedback. That'll help us make these classes even better in the future for you. And as a thank you, we'll be picking one survey responder from our live class to win a $100 Festival Foods gift card. If you're interested in registering for upcoming live classes, we do have 3 more on the next 3 Thursdays throughout the month of September. You can also view previous classes and get all the materials you need for both of them. Please visit festfoods.com/classes. That's really our hub for all of our virtual cooking classes. Also be sure to follow Fest Foods on both Facebook and Instagram. We share a lot about upcoming classes on both of those channels. You'll be the first to hear about them. And lastly, if you're just looking for more recipes, whether that's family meal recipes now that we're kind of in the back to school time frame, or just looking for some new inspiration all around, feel free to check out festfoods.com/meals, where you'll find lots of new recipes from your mealtime mentors. Thanks again for joining us today, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye.